This time on Gamers Week podcast.
Ashley can be really annoying. I'm not going to argue that. We all know. I know, Leon, I get it. It's there. Yeah. So, but the thing about her.
How was that again?
I'm having flashbacks
do you want me to do it again?
Yeah, please.
Leon.
Oh, no.
Was that good?
That was perfect.
Make sure that's, yeah. All right.
That's going in.
I'll make sure that makes the cut. No worries.
Okay. Please don't. Ashley Graham. Hey, I'm the guy in the Bubble Bobble fanny pack. Just look for me. I'll be outside. I'm calling your name. Yeah. Go ahead. That's fine.
I'm sucking on the blow pop. Yeah. That's me.
I feel like you should put actual bubbles, like the bubbles that you can blow out of the little plastic container. You should fill that fanny pack with those so that you'll always be at the ready.
Oh, God.
He makes a valid point.
He does, but I don't want to think about that. I really don't.
I think you should think about it, and I think you should jump on it.
Welcome to Gamers Week podcast. Like the name says, we analyze the best, worst, and weirdest headlines of the past week in the video game industry. This is episode 11, and today is Wednesday, March 2nd, 2022. My name is Donnie G. Retro, and I'll be your host this evening. So with me, as always, Blue. How are you doing tonight?
Spectacular. Thank you.
Can you let the audience know what I did?
I will. My identity is not tied into how good I am at Hollow Knight. Donnie did the third Coliseum challenge, and he beat it on his third try. Now, if we are being completely honest, they should know that you were asking me for advice in the chat. So it was more like a group effort.
It's a give and take relationship. That's why I love it.
It was still very impressive, though. I'm not going to lie.
Well, thank you. And I will take that to my grave. And we'll be without one of our staples of the evening, Mr. Retro Gamers, a.k.a. Ruan, a.k.a. Ryan, a.k.a. whatever you want to call him. With us tonight, covering in for Ryan, we do have a special guest, and his name is Patrick, and he is part of the Retro Gaming Podcast called Retro Blast. And as the Twitter handle says, they cover the best of gaming from the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. Patrick, how are you doing this evening?
I am doing so well. Thank you for having me. It feels good to be special and also be a guest.
You are special. And if you'd like to tell the people at home what your podcast actually covers, aside from the Twitter handle.
Right. Yeah, sure. So basically what we do is every episode covers one game. So we choose a game from either our childhood that we played or we didn't play or one of us played or whatever. And we just cover that game and we reminisce and talk about it. And the entire episode is devoted to that one game. So that kind of keeps it timeless. It kind of lets us, really dive deep into the subject. And it's something we just really love doing.
Yeah, you guys kept me company today when I was on the treadmill.
Oh,
I was
really?
listening to your episode on the very first Resident Evil.
Oh, and, fantastic.
It definitely had me laughing because it's been a while since I've played that game. And you guys did kind of a mini deep dive into the really, really bad dialogue and voice acting.
It was actually much longer than that. We had to cut it down, but we were just... We could have talked probably for a few hours about the voice acting alone. Yeah,
I was like, every time you played a clip, I was like, I remember that. Oh, I remember that. I remember that.
That was some of the most fun we've had in the podcast in a while.
Yeah. Yeah. There's certainly a lot to talk about with that subject.
That there is. And thank you so much for listening. That's awesome.
Of course. We will have the links for Retro Blast podcast in the show notes. So definitely when you're done listening to this episode, head on over there and give those guys a listen.
Definitely. Please check them out.
Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
What can I say except you're welcome?
He doesn't usually sing this early.
I'm kind of glad that he is, though. It's setting the tone very well, and I'm into it.
So now on to our reviews, reactions, and our requests, or otherwise known as R cubed. Cubed? Is that? Yeah. That's a three thing. Okay.
Yeah, that'll work.
Bogus Meat Factory says, great episode. Y'all must see the Chun-Li movie. It has some moments that have you pulling your hair going, what is happening? I can't even spoil how they explain Bison getting his powers. You wouldn't believe me if I told you. Also, we need more Dan Hibiki love. And I think that's what Blue talked about last week, right? Is that like you have to see this movie, but you cannot be surprised when they explain how Bison gets his powers, right?
Well, yeah, I'm not going to spoil it, but actually by that point in the movie, you're just like, your mind is already kind of leaking out your ears because the whole thing has been so bad. So it's not like that horribly shocking, but yeah, it's rough. It's real rough.
It's on the to-do list, and I think it could be a patron movie night, possibly.
I thought we liked our patrons.
I was about to say.
Have you seen it, Patrick?
I have. I saw it once, and that was more than enough. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That movie is a hot mess. However, it can be entertaining if you like bad movies. It can be entertaining. Probably not as entertaining as the original, but yeah, it's really bad.
Yeah, it takes itself way more seriously than the original. So
it really does.
It really, really does.
Main Street Electrical Arcade says, so guys, I really hate the Resident Evil movies too, but they made like 6 of those for a reason. They were immensely successful. They were made for less than 50 million and all went on to gross over double that. That consistency will keep a franchise going a long time. And GamerPlant8 says, gosh, I love this podcast.
Thank you, GamerPlant8. That's very nice. And
absolutely.
Yeah, we got actually'd, so gotta throw that in there.
Yeah, I was no, those movies are obviously Blue, I'm sure you can probably tell I'm an enormous Resident Evil fan. Those movies are borderline offensive to me. Really not a fan. I saw the original in theaters in high school with my normal co-host on the podcast, and we enjoyed it, but we did walk out of the theater going like, that wasn't at all what.
Yeah, that's not Resident Evil.
Yeah, and there's the first couple of movies are like okay, but no, the rest of them are just awful. I understand they made a lot of money from a business perspective, but no, those movies are no.
And now it is time for the very important poll.
Oh God! Oh, what was that?
That was me whispering.
Exactly. Not used to that.
That had some force. I like that.
Because I moved real close to the mic.
I felt it.
All right. Every Monday on Twitter, we post our VIP. That is our very important poll. And if you'd like to participate, follow us on Twitter at GamersWeekPC. So our question this week was, pick one annoying escort mission character to follow you around for the rest of your life. Our answers were Emma Emmerich from Metal Gear Solid 2. She got 15.5% of the votes. Second place was Natalia Simonova from GoldenEye 007 with 19.7% of the votes. And the winner, which I absolutely did not see this coming, Ashley Graham from Resident Evil 4 with 39.4% of the votes. Way to go, Ashley.
Whew.
Yay.
Yay. We also had 25.4% of people vote other, and here were some of their answers. At the Big Bridge 77 says Sokolov because he's cowardly as heck, or Eva, injured and moves like a fatigued snail from Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. At Jake Ceratops says one of the parade robots in Nier Automata. At least they'd be yelling affirmations and pleasant thoughts behind me as they hop around. At Cheeky Chrissy says that damn puppy from Earthworm Jim. Oh. At Retro Rex says Eek the cat on the SNES. It's just escort mission the game. And the FTAN podcast says no escort missions. Just no.
I'm going to go with him or her.
Yeah,
whoever that is.
No.
That's no. Yeah. The less, the better.
But if you had to pick one, what do you think, Patrick?
I think I voted, actually. And I'm going to tell you who I voted for. Yeah, I did. Yeah. I wanted to contribute. I wanted to really be part of this. I did actually vote for Ashley.
Really? I got to hear this. Explain it to me like I'm 5.
Okay. So I feel like Gosh, I really have to think about this and try to explain this as best I can. Ashley can be really annoying. I'm not going to argue that. We all know. I know, Leon, I get it. It's there. Yeah. So, but the thing about her.
How was that again?
I'm having flashbacks
do you
again.
Want me to do it again?
Yeah, please.
Leon.
Oh, no.
Was that good?
That was perfect.
Make sure that's, yeah. All right.
That's going in.
I'll make sure that makes the cut. No worries.
Okay. Please don't. Ashley Graham. Ashley Graham, for me, is, aside from a couple of sections of the game where she does get picked up and taken away, what I do every time I play Resident Evil 4 is put her in a dumpster. So I put her in the dumpster. I say, Ashley, get in the dumpster. I go clear the area. I come back. I say, get out of the trash. We clean her off and we keep going.
There's lots of jokes there. I'm going to leave them.
I think maybe Donnie could take that.
No, it's too easy.
No.
Just leave them.
Patrick for president. That's what I'm saying right now.
Oh, I like it. I don't know if I can handle the responsibility, but I will try.
This guy's got the street smarts.
Just get in the dumpster. You'll be fine.
You're probably not wrong.
No.
How did you vote, Donnie?
I think I voted other. Like, I was big into World of Warcraft back in the day, and there were countless escort missions where you had to escort this little guy through this little area where he was constantly pulling aggro on these enemy mobs, and they'd be like, hey, what are you doing here? And it's just like, whack, 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 done, dead. And it was just a nightmare of me trying to do this over and over and over again and giving up and going and trying to level myself up to be able to escort this guy from point A to point B and be done with it. And it was, oh God, I cannot tell you how much strife and stress it cost me.
Just so I'm clear, that's who you want to follow you around the rest of your life, is somebody who's going to aggro everybody who can come kill you?
I misunderstood it.
You didn't read the question.
Just say Ashley. Just say Ashley.
I've never played. Okay, I'll take that back.
Wait.
Yes. No.
What?
Shh. I played Resident Evil 4 very briefly. I was like, you know what? No. And I think it was because of the point of view that it had. Like Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3, by all means, God tier status. And then Resident Evil 4 came out, and I'm like, what the hell is this?
You prefer tank controls to something over the shoulder? That's insane.
Oh, no. Sorry, I'm just processing that. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
After everything I've heard from Donnie this past week, he really doesn't surprise me anymore. So anyway, my choice was Peter Puppy from Earthworm Jim.
Is that an escort mission? Or is that somebody who just follows you around and is really annoying?
I'm going to count it.
Well, he follows you around until he gets hurt, and then he turns into a giant beast that tries to kill you.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that would be really useful in real life. Every time he gets pissed off, you just kind of point him in the right direction and say, go get that one.
You're not wrong.
Fair. No, that's a good idea.
Like the line at the grocery store is too long. Just kind of,
Just toss him in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
I like it.
Thin this out for me.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and now on to our patron shoutouts. Games with Coffee says, petition to keep gorgeous instead of generous for the patron shoutout. I mean, I am one damn sexy man after all. Wink. I don't think he's wrong. We couldn't do what we do without the help of our gorgeous patrons. Here are the generous folks supporting Gamers Week on Patreon. We have a new patron to announce, and Geek With That joins Crunchy Kong, Surf Snacks, Frank Grande, Producer BTW, Steven Sand, Terry Kinnair, Ducks in Disguise, Jim and Colleen, Games with Coffee, Davey PGH, the Red Ox PDX family, including Shannon and Luke, Zach Huge Thanks, Random Retro Dude, Michael Lundeen, Princess Kitty Mew Mew, Mega Retro Man, Emo-esque, Rye-Bread's #1 fan, Fruitcake's #1 stan, The Wizard of Zardoz, Clayman71, Great Saiyaman 81, and BNT Zillagai. If you like what you hear today, and we really hope that you do, please consider joining us on Patreon. Your support helps cover the cost of producing the show, as well as other cool stuff we'll be doing, like prizes and giveaways. You'll also gain access to our weekly patron-only bonus cast called Gamers Week Uncut, Patrons with Benefits. Visit patreon.com/gamersweek or follow the link in the show notes to learn more. And now on to our main headlines of the show.
All right, first up from Nintendo.com, Pokemon announces new video games, Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. Today, the Pokemon Company announced Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, new video games coming to the blockbuster series that first captivated fans with the Pokemon Red and Pokemon Green games 26 years ago. The announcement was made during a special Pokemon Presents video presentation streamed online to fans around the world on Pokemon Day, the annual fan-focused pop culture holiday celebrating the launch of the original Pokemon games on February 27th, 1996. That was a very long sentence.
Right?
Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet will launch in late 2022 and be available exclusively on the Nintendo Switch system. Developed by Game Freak, Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet take a new evolutionary step in the Pokemon main series. Trainers can explore an open world where various towns with no borders blend seamlessly into the wilderness. Pokemon can be seen everywhere in this open world, in the skies, in the sea, and on the streets. As one of the main characters, trainers will jump into the world of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet to begin their adventure, where they will have a different outfit depending on which game they are playing. Trainers will then choose either Sprigatito, the grass cat Pokemon, Fuecoco, the fire croc Pokemon, or Quaxley, the duckling Pokemon, to be their first partner Pokemon before setting off on their journey. What do you think that was the over-under on how many times I said Pokemon in reading that?
86.
See, I was going to say it was about 317.
Close.
So this was a big deal. It feels like we just got Pokemon Arceus. So to get multiple mainline Pokemon games in a single year, that's kind of a big deal if you're a fan of those games.
You're not wrong. It is a big deal, but what's the discerning difference between Pokemon Arceus versus Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet?
It is the setting, I believe. Scarlet and Violet are going to be set in the Iberian Peninsula, it looks like.
So you have the same mechanics, the same gameplay. It's just a different setting, and I've got to spend $60 for each one of these different games.
It's the Call of Duty principle.
You know, that put me in my place, and I took that personally.
Are you a Pokemon player, Patrick?
Okay. I don't even know how this is going to sound. We did an episode on the only Pokemon game that my co-host and I have played, which is Pokemon Snap.
Oh,
okay.
So we have been talking forever about it. Now, granted, I have played, I do have a copy of the original Pokemon Blue on Game Boy. I have played it a little while, but I missed the boat. By the time Pokemon was coming out, I think I was in junior high or something like that. I was getting into more like, you know, Turok and GoldenEye and stuff like that at the time. So I just kind of missed it. Like right around that time, I was at that age where I just looked at it and said, oh, that's for kids. So looking back now, obviously, and for many years, I've gotten much more into Pokemon and like I know more about it, but I have yet to really just commit to sitting down and actually playing through an entire game. So I'm kind of in a weird spot. But then I've played Pokemon Snap, which I played when it came out. I don't know how that happened. I rented it from a Blockbuster. Don't know why, but I did. And I loved it. I thought it was great. I know more about Pokemon from Pokemon Snap than I do the actual Pokemon games.
That is not something you hear every day.
It is not.
In a Blockbuster of all places.
Well, because they had those kiosks.
Yes.
That you could take I think you take the game into, or you take your memory card into, you'd put it in and you could print out stickers of the pictures that you took.
Oh, that's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, it was really cool. Now, I didn't do that, but they did have the kiosk there. I thought that was really cool. But yeah, that's kind of was the draw at the time. But that's the only Pokemon game I've actually played through the entire way.
Now, Blue, what is your experience with Pokemon games?
So if you were in junior high when these came out, then it sounds like I'm just a little bit older than you. I was in high school when these came out. And this was kind of the first time that I realized I had left childhood behind because Pokemon exploded on the scene and I was like, I have no interest in this.
Yeah, I remember it being the Pokemon cards. My sister had the cards and she was collecting those. And I remember seeing a preview in a Nintendo Power of the games before they released, I think. My memory's a little fuzzy there, but yeah, I looked at it and was like, this just looks like something I would have played when I was a kid. And I was more interested in all of the more mature games that were coming out at the time. So it's like, I think if I'd been a few years younger, I would have jumped in immediately.
Yeah. 5-6 years earlier, I probably would have been all over this because, the designs are real cute and the anime looked like it was fun. I never really watched it, but yeah, just missed the boat.
The question is, does she still have the original cards that she collected?
I think she still does. I think she's got a binder full of them.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
I don't even know what's in there. I don't even know if she knows where they are, but I know she started collecting them right when they were coming out and she had a ton of them.
She should check.
I know. She probably should. I've thought about that before. You know what? Maybe I should check.
Just ask her, do you still want these? Or,
hey, these are just collecting dust. You mind if I'm just going to take these. Thanks.
Yeah. You won't even notice they're gone.
Nope. These are mine now. From GameSpot, PlayStation Spartacus subscription game service pricing details revealed in a report. In response to Microsoft's resounding success with its game subscription service Xbox Game Pass, Sony is reportedly buffing up its own service, PlayStation Now, with even more games and multiple tier options. After being revealed by Bloomberg late last year, this new project, internally codenamed Spartacus, seems to be getting closer to completion, as reports regarding its pricing and contents have now begun to surface. Sony is reportedly moving into a testing phase for Spartacus in the next few weeks, with a goal of announcing the project sometime in March. The first tier on the plan, Essential, will supposedly run players $10 USD and offers up a small selection of games each month, not unlike PlayStation Plus in its current state. The extra tier then starts at $13 USD and comes not only with these essential monthly games, but access to a larger catalog of PlayStation titles similar to PlayStation Now. Lastly, the premium tier will be $16 and includes both of these features along with PlayStation Now streaming capabilities, a library of classic games, and a new game trials feature allowing players to try out new games before they purchase them. While the program doesn't offer day one releases, it does help strengthen PlayStation Plus and could transform the program into a greater rival to Game Pass.
Interesting.
I like this option of being able to try out new games before you purchase them. And I know you two are kind of in the same pool of the age that I am. And that's something we got to experience back in the early 90s is we had a thing called demo discs.
Oh, gosh.
Right?
I miss those.
Right, me too. You had a magazine or you had a game that you purchased and, lo and behold, you had a demo disc of a future upcoming game. And you could play that and say, oh, you know what? I like it. I love it. Or it's not really for me. And then all of a sudden, all of these pre-orders would come in for this game that's coming out. Like, oh, I played the demo disc. It's so great. Word of mouth comes out and everybody loves it. Or it just falls flat. And I think this is kind of getting back to that.
And I'm looking at the, kind of the way they worded it here, game trials, right? So like, with a demo, you would usually have, what do they call it? Like not a vertical slice, right? Because it doesn't take you through everything, but it shows you kind of, here's a section of the game. Here's the first couple levels, or it's been edited in a way to where you can get a nice little chunk of the game and then you're done. And there's your demo. But I'm wondering how this is going to work. If they're going to do this for every game that's offered, which is what I'm assuming, does that mean they're going to give you a time limit, kind of like on the Resident Evil 2 remake, one-shot demo? Like, do you get 30 minutes to play and then are you done? Because that's what I assume they would do. Yep. But otherwise, why wouldn't they just call it demos? But not every game usually comes with a demo. They have to put an extra effort to make a demo, which is why you never see them anymore. You hardly ever see demos now. So I just wonder, if that's what they're thinking of doing, is putting a time limit on and saying you have 30 minutes or 1 hour play as long as you want. And then when that hour's up, there you go. That's it.
My guess is going to be that they're not going to do this for every game. I don't think that publishers will want this. The reason that we don't have demos now, for the most part, is that not only does it take extra effort to make a demo, but I think publishers don't want you to decide before you buy whether you like the game or not. I think they just want you to buy it.
That is an excellent point.
Yeah. If I recall correctly, I think it was the latest Crash Bandicoot. They said everybody who pre-ordered the game can play the demo. But if they already know they want the game, why do they need the demo? The demo should be for those of us who aren't sure. But everybody really liked that game, so it didn't ultimately matter. But it's weird. I really think that a lot of publishers will not be happy participating in something like that, even though that is the feature that I am head over heels most excited about for this.
Yeah, me too.
Do either of you use Game Pass currently?
No. But I do have PlayStation Now.
Okay, so you do. Okay, perfect. So I have Game Pass. I have a Series X. I have Game Pass on it. I love it. I tried it years ago and it wasn't that great. It was kind of going through some growing pains, but now I can say for sure it is absolutely worth the price that I pay every month, with not only the Xbox games that I get, but also the PC games. I just wonder, I guess, Blue, you have that service. Mm-hmm. Do you think that it's even comparable to what Game Pass has been able to do? They've had years to build this up, right? They've taken time, and now they're in a spot where they're doing really well. They've got a lot of people talking about Game Pass. Do you see PlayStation now being able to even compete with that?
Oh, no, not even close. The biggest thing that Game Pass has going for it is the day one releases and the new releases. And Sony wants no part of that. They want you to buy their new releases. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I like PlayStation Now. Okay, I'll give it a B.
Okay.
It's not perfect, but if you pay for it a year in advance, it's $60. So it's $5 a month, essentially, is what it works out to. Okay. So if you look at that pricing, what they currently offer is worth $5 a month to me.
For $5, yeah.
Yeah. But these tiers that they're talking about are quite a bit more than $5 a month. Even their lowest tier is double that. So I'm wondering if the value that they're planning on giving people is going to be worth the extra cost above what they charge now.
And I just wonder what library of classic games means, because that excites me, but that excites me more in theory because I don't know exactly what that means. Now, if they mean they're going to start bringing in more original PlayStation and PlayStation 2 games, I'm in. Sure. I would absolutely sign up for that. But if classic games means PlayStation 4 games, right? PlayStation 3 games to that, like that's not going to do it, fellas. Like it's got to be something more than that.
Mm-hmm. If you were presented with an option to pay X amount of dollars per month and you get the entire library of PS1, PS2, PS3, and I mean entire library, and it costs you $15 a month.
Oh, absolutely. I would pay them more money regardless. I would give them $50 a month just cause.
Actually, that was the number I had in my head as well.
Yeah. Like that is the value to me. Now, obviously I love retro games. I collect retro games. That makes my wallet cry.
My man,
every month.
my man.
Yeah.
My man.
It's a tough situation right now.
It is.
I do think that there is something there. I love having physical copies of games. I always have. This is going to sound a little silly. You might agree with me on this, but
don't worry.
Okay, perfect. Sometimes I will walk over to my collection and look at a game that I remember playing when I was a kid, and I will simply pick up the box and look at it and just get those good feelings, right? Mm-hmm. Just that feeling of being a kid and playing something. There's a lot of nostalgia there. I personally love doing that, but also playing those games is an experience that I also love. So if they were to tell me, you can have every PlayStation 1 game, PlayStation 2 game, even just those two. If it were just those two, I would pay $50 a month for that because it gives me an opportunity to revisit all of that, have it right there ready to go. That is an enormous value. But they also have shown, at least Sony has shown, and through comments in the past year, that they weren't as interested in trying to preserve those games and preserve where they came from. But there are so many people out there that would look at something like that and say, I will buy a PlayStation 5 and I will never buy a PlayStation 5 game. But because you are giving me PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 access to the entire library, that's worth it for me. That's what I would do. I would play PlayStation 5 games, obviously, but having that option would be worth it to me, right?
That's such a waste of the DualSense.
I know. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's for so many people. The retro gaming community, especially now, is huge. There's a lot of nostalgia and a lot of, good vibes out there for these games. People want to continue to play them. This media is not going to last forever. We have to preserve them. We have to find a way to, to keep them around. So if they were to do something like that, if classic games means that, I would pay it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I wouldn't get your hopes up.
They're not that up.
They'll probably throw a few older titles, what we consider retro, in there.
Right.
Probably call it good.
Just to appease us.
Yeah.
Here's Resistance, Fall of Man 1 and 2.
Enjoy.
Have at it. Enjoy.
Or Black for the PS3, whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was PS2, and that wasn't bad. That was a good game back in the day.
Black was actually that was a good game.
Yeah.
Was it PS2?
Yeah, it was PS2.
Xbox and PlayStation 2, I think it was on both.
Wait, whoa. You're blowing my mind right now. Black.
Oh, yeah.
That was PS3.
Yep. No, it was PS2.
It came out at the tail end of the life cycle of those consoles.
Oh, okay. I just got schooled. I apologize. Black, yep, PS2.
That's right.
All right. Senior moment, my fault. From Shack News, Capcom riles FGC with intense Street Fighter V legal event guidelines. Capcom released a list of new guidelines related to event organization using Street Fighter V Champion Edition in competitive capacity on the Capcom Pro Tour website on February 27, 2022. The full document is extensive, but some of the highlights are as follows. All tournament organizers, no matter what kind of following they have, must get a community license or esports license from Capcom to use Street Fighter V in their events. Total event prize pools and sponsorships must be reported and must be under certain thresholds that are determined by whether it's a community event or esports event. Events cannot be broadcast via cable or over-the-air TV. Capcom reserves rights to streams, pictures, and videos from any event. And major events like Combo Breaker and reoccurring events like DreamHack are likely at risk here, as well as TOs running weekly events. This strange and sudden legal demand from Capcom has many players nervous about how operating events with Street Fighter V will go. It's especially valid given that Street Fighter is far from the only big dog in the competitive fighting game circuit. Other games don't ask as much, and some publishers such as SNK even actively incentivize their communities to organize events.
I had no idea that Capcom was such a draconian buzzkill.
God, this is a weird move. This is a weird move.
I don't know if you guys have looked at the list, but it is huge. It looks like the end user license agreements that like Bandai Namco sends out in front of all its games. It's like 37 pages. It's ridiculous.
Oh my gosh.
The fighting game community has a right, I think, to be up in arms about this because these requirements they're just saying like get a license to run a tournament. Are you kidding?
This is just such a bad move. It's not a good look. And I love Capcom. They're probably my favorite, my favorite publisher, but like this is not doing them any favors.
How can you continue to alienate the people that keep your property alive?
I mean, Nintendo walks that fine line all the time. They piss people off and then they bring them back. Gary Bowser, go to jail for 40 months. But hey, everybody, here's new Pokemon. So you're not mad anymore.
Right.
Like, no, Nintendo, we're not mad. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Nintendo. May I please have some more? So Nintendo walks that line successfully. Capcom, what do they have that's going to bring people back? I know they had just announced Street Fighter 6, but is that going to be enough for people to say, we're going to jump through all these hoops so we can continue to play your games? I mean,
I don't think so.
I wouldn't. I'd be like, I have to have a license to play your game in a tournament. Well, here's a couple of middle fingers, and then I'm going to go play Tekken.
And even the prize pools and the sponsorships have to be reported and under a certain threshold. regardless of what the event is. You can't broadcast it. All of this, especially the broadcasting thing, that's something that's always kind of confused me, because it's word of mouth. It's positive word of mouth. You're letting people watch these events. They're getting hyped. They're getting into the fighting game genre. Maybe they weren't into it before. It's free advertising. You're right. Exposing more people to the game. You've got kids who are growing up who've never played Street Fighter, who are now seeing it, in the most recent form, who might want to get into it. You've got people that are starting to get into it and telling their friends about it. And then what are they going to do? They might get interested in fighting games. They're going to go buy the game. A game that's been out for years is still going to sell because you keep promoting it this way. But when you put restrictions on people, you're essentially cutting off your own free advertising.
100% agreed. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. You're alienating the people that actually keep your intellectual property alive. You can release the game, whatever. We released another Street Fighter game. We released another Mortal Kombat game, but nobody's doing tournaments. What good does that do? You get your initial revenue and that's it. These are the people who are adamant and who have just a heartfelt aspiration of being like a Street Fighter champion or a Mortal Kombat champion. Mm-hmm. And they want to go out and they want to be competitive. And now you're stifling them. Oh, you have to have if you want to run a tournament, you have to have a license.
What are they going to do if you run a tournament and don't have a license?
Right. That immediately is going to turn me off to your intellectual property, and I will jump ship. I will go over to SNK or Mortal Kombat or whoever and just leave Street Fighter in the dust, even though it would kill me. It's like losing my firstborn child. And that's being 100% real.
I love you, son, but not as much as Street Fighter.
Street Fighter has been a part of me for more than 30 years.
35 years, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Years this year.
Well, this could be disastrous for Street Fighter 6.
It really could.
My relationship could be coming to an end because you have these restrictions that prevent me from partaking in these types of events or broadcasting these types of events, when all I want to do is say, hey, this is how great Street Fighter is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really just seems like, if this is a top down, obviously a top down decision, somebody is saying, oh no, we need to make we need to put these restrictions on to make sure that we're, but they're not, again, like what you just said, Donnie, like you're cutting off people who are going to come out and talk about your game and put it out there. And you're muting it. You're taking that away, and then no one can actually promote your game for you.
Yeah, right. This is some ridiculous thing that was handed down by a team of lawyers instructed by some out-of-touch suit in an ivory tower who has no idea why Street Fighter continues to be beloved to this day. Right. It's completely clueless.
Right. From Games Radar, someone has bought the Silent Hill website, and it isn't Konami. I did pause. I paused for a gasp. I'm glad one of you did.
Pause for effect.
Exactly. The Silent Hill website is no longer controlled by Konami. The publisher has let its ownership of the website silenthill.com expire, allowing someone else to swoop in and buy it. Konami's care for Silent Hill has been lax of late, to say the least. There hasn't been a main entry in the beloved survival horror series since 2012's Silent Hill Downpour, and showing Konami up for its lack of love for the franchise is an eagle-eyed fan who's taken over ownership of the game's official website. The new owner also appears to have made some changes. If you navigate to the Silent Hill website, you're now greeted with a page titled, "He Was First." On the page is an image of a recent tweet by Masahiro Ito. The tweet reads, "I wish I hadn't designed effing Pyramid Head." Despite not keeping up with its website ownership for the series, Konami may not be ready to call it a day on Silent Hill. It's rumored that multiple games are currently in development, with one reportedly being worked on by Kojima Productions. That don't give me hope.
Exactly.
Don't
do that. Don't give me hope.
I've heard those rumors.
It's not going to be PT. It's not going to be what we want. I'm sure of it.
No. Right. If you take Death Stranding and
it'll be an hour-long cutscene of Pyramid Head washing his skirt and talking about existentialism. That's what it'll be.
Yeah. See, I was kind of pumped for the idea. Most Silent Hill fans were. I was kind of pumped for the idea of a Kojima Silent Hill back when the PT demo was a thing that could be played. And then did not care 1 ounce for Death Stranding, and now I'm nervous.
Yeah, that combo at the time was, what was it? It was Hideo Kojima, Guillermo del Toro was involved, and also Junji Ito. Who's the manga artist that does the horror novels. He was coming in. I don't know if either of you saw, did you ever see the concept video that they made for it? And not PT, but after PT came out and people realized that it was Silent Hills, there was a concept video that came out. It's on YouTube. If anybody's interested, I don't know the exact name of it, but it is a concept video. It looked horrifying. That excited me so much because I thought, if anybody could stick to it, with Kojima, you have to have somebody kind of pulling the leash a little bit and saying, hey, maybe don't make these cutscenes 3 hours long. But, maybe
reel it in.
Just a scotch.
Yeah, just a bit. But what he's good at, he's really good at. And that is, kind of his eye for detail and the kind of care that he puts into his characters, the elements that he draws from films that he loves and things like that. He's very good at what he does. But I feel like you would need someone else with Kojima, like a Guillermo del Toro, like a Junji Ito, doing their thing to make the kind of package that we wanted back then. So I don't know if a Silent Hill that we would get just from Kojima would do it.
No. And see, if Junji Ito was going to be involved, I am here for it. That would be a dream. But I don't know if you guys went to the silenthill.com to check it out. I did. It is just literally a one-page website that's completely black, and it does have that tweet, I wish I hadn't designed Pyramid Head. And I think that the whole thing is just kind of representative in one image of what has gone wrong with Silent Hill, or more specifically, what has gone wrong with Konami. Because Konami doesn't give a crap about Silent Hill and hasn't. I think we haven't had a Silent Hill game in 10 years. And I think it's been much longer than that since Konami stopped caring about it, because Downpour was not good.
Konami, I'll raise you on that, actually. I'll say Konami doesn't care about Silent Hill. Konami doesn't care about Castlevania. No. Konami doesn't care about Metal Gear Solid. Konami only cares about pachinko machines. And Konami cares about using these properties to slap on their pachinko machines.
Stop, it hurts.
Believe me, I know Konami has fallen so far. Capcom luckily has kind of risen, aside from the story we just talked about.
Right.
Capcom has risen back into a really good place, because Capcom was struggling for a while. Capcom was throwing out a bunch of junk for years and neglecting their like Resident Evil was neglected in a certain way. Mega Man was neglected in a way. They've started to kind of, really come back on top with some quality. They know what their fans want. They're trying to do that. Konami does not care. They are past that, and it makes me feel like any project that they announce now, whether that's Castlevania, whether that's Metal Gear or Silent Hill, 3 of their arguably largest properties, it's not going to be anything worth getting excited over.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong. And this is kind of what Donnie and I were talking about earlier this week, is if they don't want it, if Konami doesn't want Silent Hill, they should let it go. Let somebody else have it.
Let another fledgling studio come in and take care of it and say, look, okay, we're going to do the fans a service by continuing on the legacy that you've built upon. You haven't done anything in well over 10 years. Let somebody else take the reins. And I come back to what we were talking about pre-recording with the whole Halloween series. Dimension Pictures used to have control over the Halloween series. They gave it over to the Blumhouse Productions, who were like, oh, let's do something different with Halloween. Somebody has a new spin on it that people loved. It's a gamble, yes, but at least you're keeping the IP alive, and you're probably going to draw in new people.
Someone needs to come into this franchise with a passion for it, understanding where it came from, understanding what Team Silent did. I mean, if you could choose, this is just kind of a fun question I thought of just now when we were talking about it, but if you could choose where Silent Hill would go, which developer would you want in control, or which publisher would you want in control of it?
Ooh, you can't put me on the spot like that.
Yeah, I need a minute here. Do you know? Do you have an idea?
I would say Capcom. because of what they've done with these Resident Evil remakes and what they've done with Village.
We were just talking.
I know I hate to shill for Capcom. I love Capcom, I know, but like, I feel like aside from the esports stuff, the developers that they have, the people that are there who are actually creating these games are pretty passionate. I could see them potentially getting a team around this that could maybe do it justice. But I was just curious if you two had an idea of who might be a good publisher to take over.
The first one that comes to mind is actually Supermassive Games. They do the Dark Pictures anthology.
Oh, yeah.
They could make it a letter of love if they chose to. A letter of love to what Silent Hill was meant to be.
I like that. It's a good choice.
Thank you.
I cannot tell you, I cannot sit here and say a definitive publisher studio or developer studio that would do Silent Hill justice aside from Konami. I mean, you could draw a name out of the air, like you just said, like Capcom, because they have done such a great job with the Resident Evil remakes. Resident Evil 4 remake is coming, Blue. Be
Shut
careful.
Up. I'm not listening.
And I think Capcom could probably do well with a Silent Hill like next series in that evolution.
Come on, Konami, just give it to us. We'll take it in our loving arms and we'll give it the home that it deserves because you're just putting it on pachinko machines.
Right.
And we're tired of it.
I die a little bit every time you say that.
Just pachinko makes, it hurts people.
It does.
Deep inside.
All right, let's move on to our top 3 new releases of the week. First up, we have Shadow Warrior 3, which is coming out on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Shadow Warrior 3 launches the offbeat first-person shooter series to the next level with a seamless blend of fast-paced gunplay, razor-sharp melee combat, and a spectacular free-running movement system. Triangle Strategy is out this week on the Switch. Strategically command a group of warriors after being entangled in a surging conflict between 3 nations. Key choices you make will influence the story and outcome of this grand conflict. The stunning HD 2D visual style blends 3D environments and modern effects with pixel art characters and details. And finally, Gran Turismo 7 out on PS4 and PS5. Whether you're a competitive or casual racer, collector, tuner, livery designer, or photographer, find your line with a staggering collection of game modes, including fan favorites like GT Campaign, Arcade, and Driving School. So, which of these are you guys interested in?
I would say probably now Triangle Strategy does intrigue me. It looks very interesting. It reminds me of, older, tactics style games. There's something really, really interesting about that game, but I would say probably Shadow Warrior 3. It looks like a absolutely insane newer Doom style game. I watched a couple of trailers on it. It just looks like fun. It looks like old PC, shoot 'em ups. They've kind of captured that spirit. So that's the one I would probably go for.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Donnie?
I think I'm in the same boat as Patrick. Shadow Warrior 3 probably has my interest. Gran Turismo, if you're coming out with a version 7, okay. To me, it's another racing game. What am I going to get out of Gran Turismo 7 that I didn't get out of the previous one or Forza, whatever?
You just play Forza Horizon and have a good time.
And this is probably marketing towards the niche gamers who have that racing gear set up, the steering wheel, the pedals, the big wraparound rig with the monitors and everything that want that realistic experience, but are never going to make the jump into rally car racing or Daytona 500 or what have you. This is probably, as a casual gamer, I could pick up a Gran Turismo 7, but am I going to buy it launch day? No. I'll buy it when it's on a summer sale or something like that. I can buy it for $10.
Yeah, I think it's more niche now. I think games like Gran Turismo 7 and even the main Forza is very popular. I think Forza Horizon is a more fun series to play for my tastes, but those games cater to a very specific group. That's fantastic. You do what you love, play what you love. If you're a gearhead and you like that kind of thing, go for it because they enjoy that.
Get ready to be shocked here, boys, because I'm all in for Gran Turismo 7.
All right.
Oh, Oh, okay.
I'm ready for this.
Okay.
Oof.
We haven't had a mainline Gran Turismo for 9 years. So if you want to know what's so special about this, it's going to be all the pretty, all the shiny. The photo mode in this one looks like nothing I've ever seen before. I am so excited. They have museums and so many different features in this. This is like Gran Turismo, everything you love about Gran Turismo on steroids. I am here for it. We even got this special collector's edition pre-ordered.
Damn.
And it's got the collection of the most famous racetracks from around the world, the AI that they have invested into the weather effects, even the stars that you'll see, everything is absolutely as accurate as possible. It's crazy. So yeah, if you don't have racing money, I don't have racing money. This allows you to live that dream just a little bit.
What's defined as racing money?
That is an expensive hobby. I mean, I like to tease Mr. Blue that skydiving is an expensive hobby. No, racing is an expensive hobby.
And now on to our sponsor segment of the show. Gamers Week podcast is proudly sponsored by the Retro Game Club podcast. It's a fantastic family-friendly retro gaming podcast. In each episode, Rob and Hugh pick 2 games to play and discuss, as well as news, interviews, and other topics. Currently, they're returning to the early 80s to tackle classic arcade shmups, Satan's Hollow, and Defender. Visit retrogameclub.net to check them out or follow the link in the show notes.
I love how classic arcade games have like the most metal names. Satan's Hollow.
Satan's Hollow. It sounds like an 80s metal band. Yeah.
Yeah. There's the one I'm thinking it's like Death Race or something.
There is a 1976 game called Death Race.
It's got like skulls all on the side, and then you're driving around running people over, and that's the game.
I think that's Carmageddon, actually, too. They do that.
Good stuff.
Yeah, that's why I sign up.
So real talk. We all know there's some serious stuff going on in the world right now. Just because we don't cover it on our show doesn't mean we don't care. One of our goals is doing this podcast is to give our listeners a break from the real world for an hour or so. Because let's be honest, the real world often sucks. So in that spirit, here's a nice, fluffy, escapist main topic.
Woo!
All right. From Xputer, Mario ranked number 1 video game character of all time.
My man.
Guinness just announced their list of top 50 video game characters of all time, and boy, is it a real shocker. The list was compiled using the results of a public poll on the Guinness website. The poll, which had over 13,000 voters, was then compiled into a list of the top 50 characters of all time. While there are certainly some controversial picks here, it's easy to see how Mario came out on top among all these characters. Nintendo's mascot continues to be the most iconic symbol in all of gaming, and there's little doubt that there's any gaming figure more popular than the Big M.
All right, well, 50 entries, so we're going to split them up. And starting at number 50 and working our way down to number 1. So starting at 50, we've got Sackboy from Little Big Planet, Ryu from Street Fighter, Eddie Riggs from Brutal Legend, Bowser from Super Mario at 47, Augustus Cole from Gears of War, Larry Laffer from Leisure Suit Larry, Princess Peach, Jill Valentine from Resident Evil, Max Payne, and Goku.
At number 40, Ghost Riley from Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. At number 39, Spyro from Spyro the Dragon. 38 has Guybrush Threepwood from The Secret of Monkey Island. 37, Ash Ketchum, Pokemon Red and Green. 36, Leon S. from Biohazard Resident Evil. 35 has Ezio from Assassin's Creed 2. 34, The Prince from Prince of Persia. 33, Donkey Kong. 32, Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII. And 31 coming in at Zelda with The Legend of Zelda.
And at 30, we have Altair from Assassin's Creed. At 29, we have Naruto from Naruto Konoha Nimpak. At 28, we have Dante from Devil May Cry. At 27, we have Duke Nukem from Duke Nukem. At 26, we have Jack from Jack and Daxter, The Precursor Legacy. At 25, we have Shadow from Sonic Adventure 2. At 24, Sam Fisher from Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell. 23, Mega Man from Mega Man. At 22, CJ Johnson from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. And at 21, Yoshi from Super Mario World.
What pray tell has Mega Man been in aside from Mega Man?
Well, he was in Mega Man and he was also in Mega Man.
Oh, okay.
Well, he was also in Smash Brothers.
That is also true.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Oh, and Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yep.
Oh, we're
You got a point.
Okay. Picking up at number 20, we've got Pikachu from Pokemon Red and Green, Marcus Phoenix from Gears of War, Kirby from Kirby's Dream Land, Captain Price from Call of Duty 4, Nathan Drake from Uncharted, Ratchet from Ratchet and Clank, Samus Aran from Metroid, Nico Bellic from Grand Theft Auto 4, Soap McTavish in Call of Duty 4, and then 11, Crash from Crash Bandicoot.
Coming in at number 10, Sonic. Number 9 is Kratos from God of War. Gordon Freeman comes in at number 8. Laura Croft at number 7. Number 6 shows Pac-Man. Number 5, Cloud Strife. Number 4, Solid Snake from Metal Gear. Number 3 is Master Chief. Number 2 is Link from The Legend of Zelda. And number 1, like we said, you know him, I know him, we all love him, Mr. Mario from Donkey Kong? 1981.
I guess if you want to actually it.
Right.
Actually.
Oh, I love Mario from Super Mario Brothers. Well, actually, he was in Donkey Kong from 1981.
There are those people out there.
Push
There
your glasses
are-
right back up your nose.
Yep.
And God love them. God love them. They keep us walking the straight and narrow.
So, immediate impressions. I have thoughts.
I do. I have some serious thoughts. Yeah. I'm not going to sit here and argue that Mario shouldn't be number one. Mario should absolutely be number one, regardless of, what you're a fan of. Mario is the reason that the video games industry was saved and became what it is. And he's the most widely known video game mascot of all time.
Applause.
Yeah,
Yes.
he is. And I will always love Mario. The very first video game I ever played as a young child was Super Mario Brothers on an NES.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a personal connection with Mario as well. However, the biggest crime on this list to me is that, and I love Link, I love Zelda so much, I love Master Chief, I love Solid Snake. Sonic the Hedgehog should absolutely be number 2. I don't think that any other character on this list, and this is me, I don't think any other character comes close to any of these other characters that should be, if you're going to be behind Mario, the one that should be right behind Mario should be Sonic.
Blue, you want to take this?
Zelda. I don't know what else you to say. The Zelda series. I mean, everybody is entitled to their opinion, of course. My thought is The Legend of Zelda is side by side with the Mario series for creating what video games are today. Sonic as a platformer built on what they did. And so while I agree that Sonic is in the top 10, and I think it's a crime that he's actually below Cloud Strife and Gordon Freeman.
Yeah,
Gordon
and
Freeman.
Pac-Man.
Pac-Man's been around so long, though.
He has, but this is why I'm wondering, like, what people were thinking when they voted. Was it like, who is, when you say the number one video game character, I wonder what they're thinking. Oh, it's just my favorite. It's what I remember. Right. What is that? Pac-Man, obviously, is important, but I don't know. I think character wise, I'd put Sonic above him for sure.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, the number of Call of Duty characters that are on here, it's a little much.
Yeah, what?
I don't know how many there are. 1, 2.
There's a couple. And I love those games, and they were ridiculous. They were fine characters, but they were, one-off characters in most cases. And they,
exactly.
They had some emotional moments, but,
And if we're talking one-off characters, how the heck is Nico Bellic number 13?
People love that guy. People love that character.
But he's a meme. Hey, cousin, let's go bowling.
Which is why I'm thinking that people voted for him.
Hey, can I have one of those? Yes.
More so for what his cousin, asking him to go bowling so much.
You're going to sit here and tell me that Nico Bellic is higher on this list than Ryu and Donkey Kong
And Samus and Yoshi
and Zelda. I'm sorry,
and Pikachu. Pikachu is 20. What?
I will say that yes, you get people like Captain Price in the Call of Duty franchise. You are iconic. Marcus Phoenix, yes, you are the face of the Gears of War franchise. But CJ Johnson, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, when it's one of the I'm sorry. I hated that game. I hated San Andreas because it's like, oh, you need to make your character eat healthy. You need to make your character work out. This is not Sims. I don't care about that. I just want the story. I don't want to have to make my character go down to the grocery store and buy groceries just to appease some mechanic.
I think a lot of people get connected to some of these characters. I mean, and I'm guilty of this too.
You're right.
You love a game so much, right? They've played it so much that they get connected with that character, and that becomes the reason that they remember them so fondly. However, I'm going to wind it back just a little bit. I'm going to go on back. I'm hitting the rewind button. I'm coming back to Sonic. I'm sorry to do this, but there's a reason. And I agree with you, Blue. I am a massive Zelda fan. I absolutely adore Zelda. And I think Link is, even as a character that never says anything. He's a character that a lot of people, connect with and see him. He's very iconic in his design. He's just, he sticks out to me. But the reason that I think Sonic is it's kind of criminal here at 10 is because Sonic represents so much to so many people that, grew up in the time where Nintendo and Sega were going at it, right? When Sega created essentially the anti-Mario with Sonic, which is what Sonic is. Mario could not be toppled. Mario was representative of how dominant Nintendo was, how they were in control. Nobody could stop them. And here comes this little blue hedgehog out of nowhere who is cool and has an attitude and is representative of all 90s kids with their attitudes and just not wanting to listen to their parents and do their homework. That was what Sonic was, and how he captivated so many kids. And to where if you were on the playground and you said you were playing Mario and another kid said, that's kid stuff, you got to play Sonic. That was such a huge part of so many people's childhoods, and especially of mine. And it's what has made Sega so relevant. Sonic is the reason that Sega was able to come out of their slump and almost going out of business and able to rise above Nintendo in market share by 1993. He's the reason that was able to happen. He's known by almost as many people as who know who Mario is. So I think he's just as important as Mario. And that's why I'd put him in number 2.
I have no arguments with any of that. You are 100% right. The only thing is that I would put Sonic at maybe 3.
Behind Link?
Behind Link, because you look at which series continues to be relevant today as a video game. And it ain't Sonic.
That's also fair. That's also a fair point. That is also a fair point. Sonic is still trying to find his footing in many ways.
Right. We all are still a little bit scarred from Sonic 06. So Sonic has seen some things.
That left a deep scar. But Sonic Mania, really made me feel pretty good. I want more of that. And hey, the Sonic movie was actually really good. So, we're seeing a little bit here. Yeah, it was really good. So
there are some noticeable people missing, I will say.
Okay.
Simon Belmont.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's a good call.
There are no Castlevania characters on here. There are no Mortal Kombat characters on here.
Yeah, Scorpion should have been on here.
Scorpion, Johnny Cage, Sub-Zero, Sonya. I'm
one of them.
At least one of them. But I think you could make an argument for most of the cast. There's no Doom guy. Nope. There is no Pyramid Head. Now, I know we talked about him before. We talked about one-off characters that maybe they don't deserve to be on here. But if you want to talk about a character who never said anything and captured the imagination of thousands upon thousands of people, you can make an argument for him at least making the list.
100%.
So if you guys had to narrow down a top 10.
I mean, I would move some of these. I mean, there are some that are in the lower end of this list that I would move up. Bowser, I'd put in the top 10. Bowser, again, kind of goes with that same thing. Bowser's been around since Mario's been around, and he's been, the villain of that franchise forever, and he probably deserves to be in the top 10.
But Bowser doesn't have his own series, unlike Donkey Kong, who can stand by himself aside from Mario.
Bowser's just not been given a chance. So he needs his chance.
Bowser needs his own game.
He does.
Nintendo, listen to this podcast. I hope you're listening. Get Bowser his own intellectual property game. Do it now.
Get on that.
You can't go wrong.
I would play. Yeah, I mean, you can make it a cooking simulator. I'd play that. Use Bowser as the lead. Let's find Bowser's cooking simulator. I'll play it. No problem. But, actually, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's actually a number. I think it's hidden here. It's a number 0. It's actually higher than 1, right?
Oh, really? This is going to be interesting.
Yeah, it looks like, let me just hover. It's Waluigi.
Whoa!
Oh, it makes perfect sense. He was there all along.
Plot twist.
Where he should be.
Never saw that coming. Oh my goodness.
And there's a lot of Waluigi fans out there that just got really excited. So,
do you think Waluigi is more popular than somebody say like Guybrush Threepwood from The Secret of Monkey Island?
Yeah, that's an interesting one to have.
And I love those games. I love those games. Those are
Wow.
very, very good games. But I wouldn't put him.
Above Scorpion.
I wouldn't even put him on this list. To be honest,
No, I wouldn't either.
Okay, so Blue, top 5 right now. Top 5. We're not doing top 10. Top 5.
No, I did top 10 because I did my homework.
Top 5.
I like it
right now.
In order: number 10, Mega Man. Number 9, Kirby. Number 8, Samus. 7 is Master Chief. 6 is Pikachu. 5 is Sonic. Don't hate me. 4 is Donkey Kong. 3 is Pac-Man. 2 is Link. And number 1 is Mario.
That's good. I like that. That's a good
me
list.
too. Patrick, how about you?
After looking at this list and have these conversations, and some of my ideas have changed, my mind's changed a little bit, but I'm still going to put Mario number 1 for the reasons we said. I'm going to stick with Sonic at 2. I would definitely put Link at 3. I would put Master Chief probably around 5, and I would put Samus around 4. And for the rest, I would definitely add in, Bowser. I'd put Mega Man in there. I would put Scorpion from Mortal Kombat, probably Ryu from Street Fighter as well. I guess that's probably all I feel strongly about other than the rest of these. I mean, oh, well, no, I would probably add a Resident Evil character, and I'd probably put Leon there.
Yeah, Leon, they've got him as Leon S. They don't even have his name
Leon
right.
S. Kennedy.
Right.
Yeah, and he's all the way down at 36. Look what they did to my boy.
Jill was even lower, which that's not great.
No.
Look what I did to my boy.
Any of those. Or maybe Albert Wesker. Okay, I'm going to scrap everything. Albert Wesker, number 1.
Albert Wesker, right?
Albert Wesker from Resident Evil is number 1. He's going to achieve complete global saturation. Nobody's going to stop him. Not even Chris Redfield.
Where is Bonk? Where is Bonk on this list?
Are you
You're telling me
being serious?
Bonk didn't crack?
I can't believe you just brought up Bonk.
Bonk didn't crack the top 35?
I don't think Bonk cracked much ever.
No.
He banged heads.
He
ate
did
a lot of
crack
meat.
his own head.
Yeah. Who is your top 10 or top 5 if you insist, Donnie?
Top 5. I'm going to switch it up. I love Mario. I absolutely love Mario, but I think that Pac-Man, he needs the top spot. Pac-Man I've loved since the early 80s. Pac-Man for me is number 1. Mario is number 2. Link is definitely number 3. Number 4, I'm going to go with, I wouldn't say Zelda. Number 4 is definitely Donkey Kong. Number 5, Sonic. It has to be Sonic. I would be almost inclined to put Sonic and Mario up there close together with each other, like 2 and 3. But top 5, it's going to always be the classic retro stuff for me. I appreciate people like Sam Fisher or Duke Nukem or Kratos from God of War. But from when I started gaming, it's the arcades and Atari 2600 and all of those legacy systems. And when I got to see Pac-Man for the first time on the home port of the Atari 2600, doesn't matter how horrible or crappy the port was, it was Pac-Man. I got to see Pac-Man on my TV screen, and then came Mario to save the day, to take the game industry out of the fire and out of the flames and rebuild it. So that's why I will always hold Pac-Man as number 1.
I don't have a problem with that.
That's very fair. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't go wrong with Donkey Kong.
No, you can't. I would have such a hard time trying to, looking at creating my own 50. These are the top game characters of all time, because we look at them from such different lenses throughout our lives, especially if, we were a kid when we played the game, like for you, when you played Pac-Man. Maybe there's someone out there who was, 10 years old the first time they played Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and that's why they love those characters as much as they do. But I would struggle doing that because I look at these characters from such different, perspectives. And a lot of that love comes from nostalgia. Some of it comes from the characters themselves and their personalities. Some of them don't even have personalities, but because of their design or your memories of them, they hold a different place. So there's so many different perspectives to look at this. It's really hard to stick with, again, a top 50.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that no matter who you are, you're going to look at a top 50 list and go, what the hell were they thinking?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter who's on the list. So
nope.
Take the list with a grain of salt. Don't get too upset.
And go from there.
Yeah.
You should pose this question on Twitter. Have people give you their top 10.
I think that's a good move. I think that's
We'll do that.
Here's my contribution.
So Professor Rybread is on vacation this week, and we do apologize. So you won't be able to attend class as normally. Rybread will be back next week. Thank you for listening to episode 11 of Gamers Week Podcast. And a big thank you to the Retro Game Club podcast for sponsoring this episode. Don't forget to check out their links in the show notes. Also, a huge thank you to Patrick of the Retro Blast podcast. We'll have their links in the show notes as well, so be sure to give them a listen. And if you want to connect with Gamers Week, you can follow us on Twitter at GamersWeekPC. You can email us at gamersweekpodcast@gmail.com. Check us out on Twitch at twitch.tv/GamersWeekPodcast. And visit our merch store at gamers-week-podcast.creator-spring.com. Or if you want to do it the easy way, follow the link in the show notes. Join us on Patreon at patreon.com/GamersWeek. And finally, since you made it all the way to the end of this episode, your princess is not in another castle.
Chief Human Resources Officer.
What?
Sorry, that was my bad. That was my phone making noise.
Human Resources?
You've
what?
reached the Human Resources Department.
Please leave us a rating and a review to let us know how we did. We really do value your feedback. And while you're there, consider subscribing on iTunes, Spotify, or your podcast platform of choice.
Thank you so much, Patrick. This was so much fun.
Oh, no problem.
We definitely
Absolutely.
need to do this again. Let's keep this going.
Yeah. No, I honestly thank you guys for, letting me come on. This was it's a little different from what I normally do, so it's been a lot of fun to kind of flex these other, brain muscles and talk about relevant gaming stuff going on now instead of living in the past all the time, which is where I like to be.
We are all about brain muscles here, for sure.
Yep. The brain flex,